Version 1, The Prodigy. Get ready to meet an artist who didn't break the rules because he simply created his own. In the late 1970s, a mysterious young man from Minneapolis named Prince Rogers Nelson signed a contract with Warner Brothers that was unheard of at the time. Total creative control over his first 3 albums. He was only 19 years old. On his debut album, For You, Prince not only wrote and produced every song, he played all 27 instruments. Just think about that. A teenager, alone in a studio, creating a sound that was a fusion of funk, rock, pop, and soul. Right there, the Minneapolis sound was born. This early era was defined by mystery. Prince rarely gave interviews. He communicated through his music, creating an aura of an otherworldly genius. With hits like I Wanna Be Your Lover, he gave us a glimpse of his pop talent. But it was on the albums Dirty Mind and Controversy that he really started to show his true nature. He mixed provocative lyrics about sex and spirituality with a raw, electric sound that was unlike anything else on the radio. Prince wasn't trying to fit into a genre. He was creating his own. He was building the foundation of a musical empire, brick by brick, note by note, proving he was a force of nature that the world would soon be unable to ignore. Version 2, The Icon. If the first era was the spark, this is the explosion. In 1982, Prince lit the fuse with his groundbreaking double album. 1999, the title track became an anthem for a generation. But it was Little Red Corvette that truly broke down barriers, becoming one of the first videos by a black artist to be played in heavy rotation on MTV, right alongside Michael Jackson. The cult hero was about to go mainstream. Then came 1984, and the world turned purple. Purple Rain wasn't just an album or a film. It was a cultural takeover. This semi-autobiographical movie and its electrifying soundtrack launched Prince into the stratosphere. The album spent an unbelievable 24 consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and sold over 13 million copies in the US alone. The world couldn't get enough. When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy both shot to #1, and the epic title track became an anthem for the ages. For a moment in 1984, Prince achieved the impossible. He had the #1 album, the #1 single, and the #1 film in the United States, all at the same time, a feat no singer had ever accomplished before. He wasn't just a pop star anymore. By winning an Academy Award for the film's score and multiple Grammys, Prince had become a global icon, a musical visionary who proved he could conquer the world on his own terms. The reign of the Purple One had officially begun. Version 3, The Visionary. After the global conquest of Purple Rain, what does a genius do next? He dismantles expectations. Instead of a sequel, Prince delivered Around the World in a Day in 1985, a psychedelic, Beatles-inspired album that confused critics but captivated fans with its whimsical single, Raspberry Beret. He then directed and starred in his second film, Under the Cherry Moon, and released its soundtrack, Parade, in 1986. While the film flopped, the album was a masterpiece of minimalist funk, giving the world the unforgettable, stripped-down, modern one-hit kiss. It was clear Prince was more interested in artistic exploration than repeating a formula. This creative restlessness culminated in what many consider his magnum opus, the 1987 double album, Sign of the Times. After disbanding the Revolution and shelving multiple projects, Prince consolidated his creative genius into this sprawling epic. It was a one-man show of musical mastery, touching on everything from social commentary in the title track to raw desire in If I Was Your Girlfriend. The album was a breathtaking display of his versatility and is hailed as one of the greatest albums ever. Version 4, The Revolutionary. The 90s saw Prince enter his most rebellious and prolific phase. He formed a new powerhouse band, the New Power Generation, and returned to the top of the charts with the 1991 album Diamonds and Pearls. Hits like Cream and the title track proved he still had his finger on the pulse of commercial R&B and pop. But this era is defined by his legendary war with his label, Warner Brothers feeling like a slave to his contract. Prince famously changed his name in 1993 to an unpronounceable symbol, becoming the artist formerly known as Prince. He would appear in public with the word slave written on his cheek to protest his lack of ownership over his master recordings. Despite the corporate battle, his musical output was relentless. He released the Gold Experience in 1995, which included his last major US hit, "The Most Beautiful Girl in the World," a song he released independently to prove he could succeed without the label's machine. The era culminated with the release of Emancipation in 1996, a massive triple album celebrating the end of his contract with Warner Brothers. This period showed Prince as a fierce advocate for artistic freedom, willing to sacrifice commercial success to fight for his principles. Version 5, The Trailblazer. Free from his major label contract, Prince became a true trailblazer for artistic independence. While the rest of the music industry was still figuring out the internet, Prince was one of the very first major artists to embrace it. He launched the NPG Music Club, a subscription service where fans could buy his music directly from him online, cutting out the middleman entirely. This era was marked by an almost overwhelming flood of music. Albums like Crystal Ball, a collection of unreleased tracks, and The Rainbow Children, a complex and controversial concept album about his newfound faith as a Jehovah's Witness, were released directly to his most dedicated fans. He wasn't chasing radio hits anymore. Instead, he was making music for himself and his community. From the jazzy explorations of The Rainbow Children to the raw funk of One Night Alone. Live, his first ever live album. This version of Prince was a visionary entrepreneur, rewriting the rules of music distribution and building a direct connection with his audience long before it became the industry standard. Version 6, The Legend. Just when some thought he had settled into his role as an independent cult artist, Prince exploded back into the mainstream with a power and grace that stunned the world. The Renaissance began with his 2004 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where he delivered an absolutely legendary guitar solo during a tribute to George Harrison that is still talked about today. That same year, he released the album Musicology. He launched an innovative tour where every concert ticket holder received a copy of the album, a genius strategy that helped it chart in the top 5 and win 2 Grammy Awards. Prince was back on top, and he had done it his way. The peak of this era, and perhaps his entire career, came in 2007. Prince performed the Super Bowl XLI halftime show in the middle of a literal downpour. In what is widely considered the greatest halftime show of all time, he embraced the rain, delivering an electrifying performance that culminated with a stunning rendition of Purple Rain. It was a triumphant, iconic moment that cemented his status as a legendary performer. Version 7, The Mentor. In this phase, Prince fully embraced his role as a living legend and mentor. He was no longer chasing hits, but was dedicated to the preservation of live music and raw musicianship. He was famous for his surprise hit and run shows, where he and his all-female backing band, Third E-Girl, would announce a concert in a small club just hours before it started, creating an incredible sense of excitement. His music became more rock-oriented with albums like Plectrum Electrum, which showcased the incredible talent of his new band. He was still experimenting, but now it was with the energy of a live rock band. This era was also about Prince using his platform. He wrote the song Baltimore in response to the death of Freddie Gray and performed a Rally for Peace concert in the city to promote healing and unity. He was the wise elder statesman of music, using his incredible talent to entertain, inspire, and bring people together. He even made a guest appearance on the sitcom New Girl, showing a playful, self-aware side that audiences loved. Version 8, The Immortal. On April 21st, 2016, the world was silenced by the shocking news of Prince's death. But a legacy as powerful as his can never truly fade. In the years since his passing, his genius has only become more apparent. The opening of the Paisley Park vaults has begun to reveal the sheer scale of his creative output. We've been gifted with incredible posthumous albums like Originals, which features his own recordings of songs he wrote for other artists, finally allowing us to hear classics like Nothing Compares to You in his own voice. His influence is everywhere. You can hear it in the music of countless artists today, from Janelle Monáe to Frank Ocean. He broke down barriers of race, gender, and genre, creating a space for artists to be their most authentic selves. He fought for artistic freedom and won, setting a precedent for generations to come. From the teenage prodigy playing 27 instruments to the symbol of rebellion and the legendary performer who could make it rain purple. Prince wasn't just a pop star. He was a once-in-a-generation force of nature, and his music will live on forever. Prince's story is sealed, but the version vault is always looking for its next subject. The question is, who will it be? A rock god? A pop diva? A voice that defined a generation? The choice is yours. Head down to the comments and tell us which music legend you want us to break down next. We read every single suggestion, so make your voice heard. Subscribe so you don't miss whoever comes next. And thank you for joining us on this journey through music history.